This is Rock and Roll English. Real people, real English. Here's your host, Martin Johnston.
Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Rock and Roll English. Episode number 303, baby. And today we have an absolute blinding episode. Blinding meaning very good. Not really sure why that word exists, but it does. A blinding episode with the Hellraiser. Yes, he is back. And we are talking about technology and how it is taking over the world. But, like usual, if you're looking for a serious podcast that talks about these, serious issues, you're in the wrong place. Because like every episode of Rock and Roll English, we don't really talk about the subject we're supposed to talk about, and we speak about pyjamas, erotic books, monkey men, and lots more. So in other news, my new online course, Jungle Listening, that will help you understand British native speakers, is nearly ready. I am sure this is the only course in the world, I mean this, that breaks down fast spoken English and helps you understand it. So yes, I am nearly finished now, just putting on the final touches. I have worked solidly for 3 months on this course. I would say minimum 8 hours a day. And I've put so much into this because I really want it to have a big impact and help people like you understand fast spoken English. So stay tuned for that. More info coming very, very soon. So back to today's episode, which does get cut short a little bit, always for the same reason, which is a 20-minute podcast is long enough for the transcript that I have to do for the members. And of course, let's not lie, I'd like to give you an incentive to join the wonderful Rock and Roll English family membership area, because again, I think it is a truly wonderful place that can help you improve your English. If you're not in the membership area and you would like to listen to the rest of this episode and 1,000 extra episodes with transcripts and lots of podcasts which are not safe for the public, then click the description in the podcast you are listening to right now to learn more. So I'm going to stop talking now. Here is the episode. Happy listening. Hellraiser, how are you today?
Fantastic, Martin. How are you?
Always fantastic, Hellraiser. Even more fantastic, I'm now looking at you with a sleeveless vest on. Is it very warm where you are?
It is actually. It's beautiful weather. Summer's here.
See, I don't like sleeveless vests for two reasons. One, people can see that I don't have any muscles at all. And two, people can see how hairy my shoulders are. So,
yeah, that is a problem for you. That is a real problem.
In fact, my mum actually recently bought me some sleeveless vests and said, "Do you want these?" And I said, "Have you ever seen me in a sleeveless vest? I'm too embarrassed to wear one of them to bed in case Mrs. R&R laughs at me or my kids."
Both likely. Why would you? What do you wear to bed then?
I wear full-on pajamas these days. Before I met Mrs. R&R, I was always just t-shirt and boxers. That was it. But now I have, like, as I said, full-on PJs.
With a hat?
I'm not sure if they do PJs with a hat, do they?
Yeah, of course they do. It's in the fairy rhymes, the fairy tales.
Okay, no hat, but yeah, like the trousers and the shirt with the buttons.
Button up. It's not button up. Fuck off. Oh, we have to end this call now. We're not that old, mate. Like, don't give up yet.
Hellraiser, I'm 40 next year, okay? So when I wear the pajamas as well, I kind of think like, yeah, I'm not sure about this look, but they're bloody comfortable, Hellraiser, and that's
the comfort. You're your own boss. You do it. It would be good to maybe see a photo of it.
Not 100% sure about that, but we will see. Anyway, that's enough about my pyjamas, Hellraiser. So, how do we usually start the show?
With a review.
Do you think we have one?
Yes.
Yes, we do. Finally, I put a message out there in the last podcast, and the rock and rollers have responded. This one is from Wojtek.
Try that one again.
And it says, I would like to say thank you a million times over for your strenuous work. On top of that, you are currently struggling with caring for a baby. Without any exaggeration, I have to say that you and Luke's English podcast are my absolute favourite podcasters, hands down. Lovely R&R vocab, hands down, no question. Thanks for your work and your approach to teaching English, and most importantly, the entertaining nature of the podcast. Because of this, the podcast is a pleasure to listen to and contributes a lot to English learning. I think that this podcast is the best thing since sliced bread.
No way, me too.
You are the bee's knees. Cheers. And then puts his name again, which we mentioned was Chorus Wojtek. So thank you very much for that, Chorus Wojtek. We absolutely loved it, appreciate it.
That was great, really good.
The bee's knees, Hellraiser. How about that?
Yeah, well, we knew it, but it's nice to hear it out loud, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. We knew it, but sure, nice for other people to say it. So on to today's podcast, Hellraiser. And so I text the Hellraiser yesterday saying, are you free for a pod? And the Hellraiser responded, any ideas? What are we talking about? So I put the ball into the Hellraiser's court and said, any ideas? And he came up with how technology will kill humankind. And I thought, wow, that is some deep shit, man. I was wondering, I could just imagine you there probably just smoking a joint whilst sending the message, like wearing like different coloured T-shirt and listening to Bob Marley.
That is almost racist, okay? So
yeah, I didn't expect you to turn the tables like that and put me in a difficult position. So, shall we continue with the podcast, Hellraiser?
Yeah. Let's do it.
So, a question, though, did come into my mind. Have you ever been to a protest? I could imagine you there just with a sign saying, like, fuck off computers.
The anti-computer convention. Yeah, I go every year. It's a great time, me and the lads. I have been to a couple of protests. There was a couple in the UK. Been kettled once.
You've been a what? Sorry,
kettled. You know when the police kind of do that thing where they squash you in.
Right. I thought someone
hit me with a kettle.
We have the verb bottled because when someone hits you with a bottle, I got bottled. Luckily, never happened to me. And when you said to me, I got kettled, I thought someone had a kettle like you make tea with and hit you with the kettle.
That is, I think, there's a common weapon that's brought to protests: a kettle.
Right. I mean, that would be painful if there was one object in the kitchen to hit someone with. That would be...
Or if they boiled the water and then threw the water on you, that could be kettling. That would be terrible.
Fucking hell, that would be
Could you imagine
bad,
that? That is brutal. I'll mark that down for my next protest.
Right. So what were you protesting against?
One of them was the Iraq War. Okay. And the other one was about the NHS.
Right. Okay.
I went to one of them with a girlfriend as well. I don't know why I did that. It's like went for a date.
First date. Where do you want to go? Do you want to go to a protest and say fuck the police?
Yeah.
Let's bring some kettles with us. But the Iraq War, we were in school then. So why didn't you tell me about the protest? I could have gone and put my middle finger up at the police and say, fuck you.
You weren't interested, mate. You were part of the establishment then. And I knew it. You're one of them.
My main thought of when I think of protest is when there was a student protest and someone had a sign and it said, "Get rid of capitalism and replace it with something better." just like, yeah, fuck capitalism. What should we replace it with? Something better.
Exactly.
Good idea.
Like it. Solutions. It's quite a lengthy sign as well. You want it just to be punchy, don't you? Just, drugs, not hugs. Or no?
Drugs, not. Well, yeah, no, you want hugs, not drugs, I suppose.
Well, it depends who you are, I guess.
Often drugs can lead to hugs, so...
And the opposite. It's it's the same thing.
Exactly. So I've got some questions just about technology and just a bit of a chat why it's terrible. So, for example, I got here, it says the internet makes explicit videos, so videos are not good, more available to children. How about that, Hellraiser?
What is the question?
Good point. Well, I thought we were just kind of slagging off technology and the internet, and so this was just a prompt, I suppose, to say, fuck the internet, fuck technology, because children can now watch. It says explicit. Now, I think we all know what it means by explicit.
Is it like the like rap videos with the swearing left in?
Yeah, no, I was thinking more sexual things.
That is where your mind is at.
That would be a dream. When we were children, it was not so easy to see naked women, basically, was it?
Free naked women. Not really. Not from memory. I do actually the early, because we are probably the last generation that experienced childhood with and without the internet. Well, we are. Yeah. So, I do remember my first forays into those explicit rap videos, and they could only be 9 seconds in length. I remember that. So, it was tricky.
Absolutely. I remember in primary school, it was like book club or something like that, and you could get a book from the library, and Corporal Coma and I, every time we were in year 4, so 8 or 9, got a book about sexual education, because inside the book there was a picture of a naked woman, and for 1 year, every year we got that book during book time.
Could you imagine that happening now? If a kid just went, "Oh, look, let's get this book. It's got about sex education." Why don't you just watch some porn? What's wrong with it?
Well, it was a very educational book as well, Hellraiser. So
I can imagine
it was educational and erotic at the same time.
Oh, what a perfect match! And it's obviously done well for you, seeing as you're such a sexual man of the world.
Absolutely, Hellraiser. Absolutely.
A real pioneer.
So as we moved on from my pajamas, and then we moved on for the racism thing, now let's move on from talking about my sex life. So we have here, just a question about technology, because we also attach to phones these days. How do you feel when you go out and then you think, oh, fuck, I haven't got my phone with me?
Sometimes I do it just to test myself.
Oh.
So I'll go out and not carry it with me. But I've recently bought a new phone, which is enormous. I thought, people are always on at me like, why have you got such an old phone? What are you doing? You can't take photos with it. It's ridiculous. So I bought a new one, and now I can't fit it in my pocket. It's too big.
You can get a handbag, Hellraiser, or as they say, a man bag.
I've got a fanny pack.
So there's something...
Bum bag.
Bum bag, right, okay. So
we call it bum bag. Americans call it fanny pack.
Right, okay. Because, it's strange, because a bum bag you would expect to be on your bum, but they go kind of above your penis, don't they?
You can't call it a penis bag. You've already got one of those, for starters. Secondly, you can't... Just doesn't work.
Yeah. But so you actually have one of them. You actually wear one.
Yeah, big time.
That does not go with your rock and roll image, does it? What do you put in there? Phone.
What else do I put in there? Just other cool stuff.
Keys. Yeah.
Keys.
Sure. Some real rock and roll stuff there.
Mini toothbrush, these kind of things.
Okay, the next one here about technology. Are you, it says here, an early adopter, or do you like to have cutting edge technology? A lovely vocabulary there. Cutting edge, the latest technology.
Nah, I've got fighting and screaming, to be honest. It takes quite a long time for me to even begin to try and use something new. I just don't like it. I don't like new things.
Yeah, I'm with you. Fuck change. Who wants to change? But when we were in school, I always had you down as a tech guy, because I remember you used to buy the ringtone for the latest Nokia phone, and I thought, oh, look at him, he thinks he's so great with his new ringtone.
I think that's a little bit different, isn't it? Buying a ringtone to impress girls rather than having a smartwatch or Google glasses. I think that's a bit different.
So that's how you impressed girls back in the day with your ringtone. So just stand next to a girl, get someone to ring you. Oh, sorry, can you just...
What's that?
What's that? What's that ringtone? Oh, sorry, no, just ignore it. It's my latest pop song ringtone. Britney Spears.
Well, the numbers speak for themselves. And it was... It was all I could do at the time. That was it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think people probably understanding why the Hellraiser and I didn't have such success with women when we were in school.
You were wearing pyjamas and I was downloading ringtones. Yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah, I'm the same though. New technology. I remember even smartphone. I was like, no, I'm not having one. I don't need one. And I kept my Nokia. I loved the Nokia, but then I had to say goodbye at some point because I thought I'm too far behind. But that was tough.
Do you think that there'll be some kind of resurgence, like a renaissance, like there was for vinyl? That there will just be, people will want to go back to analog phones. People will want to go back to, tapes, VHS.
I would certainly be up for phones without internet on them. Is that necessary of all of that? Just phone calls, text messages, as long as the text messages are free, because when they cost 12p, that was a nightmare, wasn't it?
That was expensive.
Exactly. And then when you got to the end of the message and then it was going too long, and then you think, fuck, I have to pay again for 2 messages. That's 24p. Just if you were having an argument with someone and you had a long message, you think, is this argument worth 26p?
Definitely not. Definitely
exactly.
Not. That was crazy times, tough times. I used to have 10 free text messages a day on my Orange phone. Wow. But then after that, you couldn't have any more. You couldn't even buy on any more. So I'd have to have a conversation with 10 messages, and that was it. Game over.
When you're getting towards the end.
To have to make sure that it was 160 characters dead on every single message. Get my point across. Put it in bullet points.
After you had impressed the girl with your ringtone, you're into messages. You're going back and forth, and then you get to number 9, and you say, "Just to let you know, I can only send you one more message, so make it a good one."
And I haven't got enough money to put any more credit on, and my mum might let me out after 6 p.m. Do you still want to hang out?
With the phone I had, I remember when the message was sending, if you switched off your phone, then the message would send for free. But it was a nightmare just switching my phone on and off all day. It was an absolute nightmare.
Ridiculous.
Just to save 12p.
Yeah. It wasn't great, was it?
No, exactly. So another one here is losing jobs. Do you think this is going to happen, Hellraiser? Because I'm sure. So I've just spent the last 2 months, maybe more, making what I think is the greatest online course in the world. And I'm sure AI will make something better in about 2 minutes, and it will cost half of the money, and I'll be fucked.
Yeah, I mean, that is likely. But it is still a great course. You showed me it earlier. So don't despair just yet.
Just yet, yeah. Just a few years down the line.
I mean, it's all coming for us, isn't it? I mean, I just watched all 3 Terminators back to back the other day, and that's probably where I got the thought about,
I mean, Terminator. Killing. So just so everyone's aware, obviously the famous film with Arnold Schwarzenegger, that's from the 80s. I thought there were only 2. I didn't know there were 3 though.
I think there's 3. There's a more recent one.
Right. Okay. So that's from the 80s, and that's where you got the idea of technology taking over the world.
Yeah. I mean, soon we'll have reanimations of dinosaurs, just like Jurassic Park. That was in the 90s. Board games running around like Jumanji. That's going to happen.
Oh, fucking hell. That is scary, actually. That film used to scare the living daylights out of me.
Why? It was about a board game.
And then the boy turns into kind of like a monkey, a hairy thing. And I think I kind of, really associated. I really saw myself in. And that's what made it scary.
You became what you feared the most.
Absolutely. So one thing that is taking over the world at the moment is ChatGPT. So you can basically have a chat with this artificial intelligence, I think. Have you used this, Hellraiser?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. What have you used it for? Just have a chat? Hi, you okay? Yeah.
Just having a chat, just tips, life tips. Just seeing what they're up to.
Yeah, I've used it and blown away by what it can do. And one thing I always find strange though is I'm always so polite when I talk to it. It's like it's obviously like it's a human. So I say, "Hi, could you please, for example, give me 10 examples of this word used in context?" And then after he does it, I'm saying he. I don't know why. I then say like thank you and feel that I should be polite to this computer-based program.
That's good. They might not kill you first.
So that's where we are going to leave today's episode. As I said, the conversation does continue in the membership area where, like I always say, things do get a bit more personal. It's more of a personal podcast. And just to prove this to you, I'm going to play you a few snippets, a few little bits from the family podcast that is available for the members tomorrow. So here you go. Anyway, so we are on the Chit Chat podcast now, Surely Hellraiser. So you've just been to Egypt, you told me.
Just been to Egypt.
As you can see there, a more personal question just about things that we have been doing, which then turns into this. And were you naked?
Not to begin with.
And this.
Say if we were just talking and I got my penis out right now. I mean, would you...
I would say, what the fuck are you doing? Put that away. So, yes, for members, you can look forward to lots of penis talk tomorrow because, like I said, we often talk about things that are not safe for the public. Anyway, if you're interested in joining the membership area and listening to the rest of this episode and 1,000 extra episodes, stop the podcast and click the link in the description to the podcast. Anyway, on to today's vocabulary. So, we spoke about a vest. The Hellraiser's sleeveless vest. A vest is, let's say, the t-shirt you wear under a shirt. I noticed many Italian men, old Italian men, wear this. Apparently because in the summer it absorbs the sweat and in the winter it makes you warm. So I often see sleeveless vests under shirts for men over 50 in Italy. Not so common in the UK, but obviously if you're the Hellraiser, more common. So I said about my pyjamas, I went full on pyjamas. I wear full-on pyjamas. So this term, full-on, means like to the greatest degree. So, you can get pyjamas that are semi-pyjamas, let's say, but these are the real thing, full-on pyjamas. In the review, we had lots of R&R vocabulary when he said that rock and roll English is the best thing since sliced bread. So basically a great thing. And also the bee's knees, another term to say really good, basically. When the Hellraiser accused me of being racist, I said that he turned the tables because I was trying to put him in a difficult position and embarrass him, but then he did it to me, so he turned the tables. We spoke about a kettle, which is what you use to boil the water to make a cup of tea, and apparently to throw at people when you are at a protest. Speaking of protests, we spoke about a lengthy sign, so a big long sign, and the Hellraiser said you want it to be punchy. So something punchy is when you express something effectively with power. So my new online course, Jungle Listening, the slogan I think I'm going to use is from chaos to clarity, because that's the point of the course. So you have chaos when you listen to native speakers. After the course, clarity. We spoke about slagging off the internet, so speaking badly about the internet, a very informal term. I mentioned that my not question when the Hellraiser said, "What's the question?" It was just a prompt, so something to help you remember, let's say. We spoke about explicit content, so content for people older than 18, let's say. The Hellraiser described me as a real pioneer, so a pioneer, someone who is the first person to do something, is a pioneer. We also had the Hellraiser say, people are always going on at me about my phone. So if someone is going on at you, they're always moaning at you, complaining, say, look, your phone's terrible, what are you doing? We also had a bum bag, which is the term in the UK, which in the US is a fanny pack, which is that bag that tourists often wear where they have like their passport, their keys and money. You know who I mean. I'm thinking of when I was in Rome and just seeing these American tourists with their bum bags on. But anyway, I then said to the Hellraiser, I always had you down as a tech guy when we were in school. So I always had you down as. So I always thought you were into technology. We spoke about text messages, 160 characters dead on, the Hellraiser said. So exactly 160. And then I mentioned how the film Jumanji used to scare the living daylights out of me. A simple term to understand, but just adding a bit more colour. Anyway, remember, all of this vocab is on the website rockandrollenglish.com. Go there, podcast episodes, click on the latest one and you will find it. So thanks a lot for listening, everyone. I will talk to you very soon, but in the meantime, just keep on rocking, baby.
Thanks so much for listening to Rock and Roll English. For more great content and to stay up to date, visit rockandrollenglish.com and facebook.com/rockandrollenglish. We'll catch you next time.